Prostitutes obviously are easy prey. They are people that many times are not readily identified because they're living under aliases, they're from another city, they're transient. And what happens is also many serial killers have issues with women, and they believe prostitutes are evil, and we should rid society of them.
Hello again, okay, here in this video. What'd you see there? What'd you just see there? So basically what this guy is saying, that is, serial killers kill women because they hate women, okay, and because they want to see women abolished off the planet Earth. That's probably one of the biggest jokes I've ever heard of in my life, okay? Now, if you was to get my opinion on why serial killers, the majority of them focus on women, some of what he said about the prostitutes is correct, okay? Some of what he said about the prostitutes is correct. That they're easy targets because they're out there. That's right, of course they are. Okay, because they're the weaker sex? No. Not at all. Not at all, okay? Okay, because they hate women? Okay, because all serial killers hate women and want to see them abolished off the planet Earth? No. Not at all. Did you ever stop to think about it as one's ability to how to treat another human being? What, do you think 90% of these serial killers were just born a serial killer? Were you that fucking nuts? You thought they were just born out of their fucking mind? You're that fucking nuts? No, they was no different than any of the rest of yous. No, they wasn't. They wasn't any different than you or me or anybody, any of the rest of us. Well, the only difference is everybody's emotion state is different. What may affect you one way may affect somebody else a different way. And it's the ability to control and handle your own emotions, okay, and feelings. But, on the other hand, we're in a world where people get off on playing the game, hurting one another, hurting somebody you don't know. That's right, getting in somebody's head. That's right. How long? I mean, for history now, if we go back years and years and years, we'll see that, well, at one time, if we go far enough back to the Western days, you'll find out that women actually had to pursue and chase the man, okay, in the dating scene. Because the man was the one that was going to take care of the woman, so he had his pick, because he was the one that was going to be supporting her the rest of her life, okay? Then it got flipped. That's right, because we've never had true equality, equalness amongst the genders. So then to correct the problem, we corrected the problem by reversing it. Okay, so we corrected a wrong with a wrong. Now, who set the standards for what a woman's supposed to do, what a man's supposed to do, how a man's supposed to act, how a woman's supposed to act? Who set them standards? Did you ever ask yourself that question? Did you realize it was another human being like as of yourself? Did you realize not everybody can agree upon the same thing, but people need to how to grow up? But the real truth behind the matter here is no, serial killers are created by us, the people. The majority of them. Because, see, if they grow up and they're just young and they go out and do all this stuff, they could be of mental. I mean, I'm not going to rule out that there's people that are born with mental issues that go out and do things, because there's always that possibility. But on the 90% basis, I'd have to say that 90% of the time that's not even the case. 90% of the time it's not even the case, okay? The case is they grew up and maybe they were abused by their mother, by their aunt. Maybe they were beat continuously by the woman. That's right, because women love to be violent. But see, the thing is women are no different than men. But you want to always paint yourselves out to be different than man, and you're more loving and caring and nourishing your children because you're a woman, blah, 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 fake, and you want to paint out this fake scenario to keep yourself up on this pedestal with a halo above your head. But that don't work. No, that don't work, because the truth is out. Women are no better, no different than a man. And a man's no better, no different than a woman. That's the problem. We never corrected the problem, see? When genders can never be equal, you'll always have division. See, women walk on a pedestal, and they know they do. Not all of them, but the ones that know they're doing it, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You're damn right you do. And you have your ability to treat other people like shit. You have your ability to push people out of a life. The majority of the reason that serial killers are focused on women, one would be from what he said for the prostitutes, but it's not because of the prostitutes as much as it is for the fact that when I look around me and I can literally see millions of people that have been pushed to be alone their whole fucking life by fucking their opposite gender. And the majority of the opposite gender don't have that issue, but the majority of the men do and the majority of the women don't. There's a really good reason for that, and you women know it, okay? And that's called evil, by the way. It's called evil. It's called not knowing what love is to begin with. But then there's a lot more than that involved here. Because maybe the woman, like I said, beat the kid, okay, when he was growing up. Maybe he was pushed out of life. Maybe he was shit on and dumped on like George Sidini. Maybe he was tired of being alone like George Sidini. Did you ever stop to think about that? And if you're dumped on, if you're beat from the time you're a child on up by a woman and you kill women, or if you're dumped on over and over and over and over, year after year after year after year after year by a woman, just like with George Sidini. Do you think George Sidini was the first one? No, he's probably number 100 in line. Some of these serial killers probably were people that were shit and dumped on by their opposite gender their whole life. And that's why their opposite gender was their target. Had nothing to do with nothing else. Because there are some serial killers now out there that have killed both genders, ain't there? Then there was John Wayne Gacy. What did he kill? He killed boys. That's right. Okay? But he was a killer just the same. See, now he was psycho. He wanted fucking sex with him not to be told, so he killed him. Because he allowed sex to his life because he was a psychopath. But see, that's what sex does to people. It corrupts you. I mean, look what you've done in this world. We've replaced sex with love, have we? We don't know how to care for other people, do we? No, we've replaced sex with love. But this guy here is full of shit. What that guy said, he's full of shit. Okay, there's only one thing he said I can agree with about the prostitutes being easy targets and stuff. Yes, but serial killers hate women. Okay, because in today's society, to be a woman hater, all you got to do is stand up for yourself as a man. That's right. If the woman dumps on you and shits on you, and you stand up for yourself as a real adult man would do, then you're classified a woman hater. That's all it takes to be classified a woman hater. But now when the woman stands up to herself for the man in today's world, that's supposed to be normal. That's accepted. There's no labeling or nothing. But if the man stands up for himself, then the women got a label for him, don't they? That's right. Isn't that to keep yourself above them like you think you are? When you're not? But then, see, there you go again. See, you thought you was above him. So why was a serial killer created and born? Because you created him and you made him. And how did you create him and make him? Because you treated him like dirt his whole fucking life. That's right, you the people shit on these people. Shit on them and 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 shit on them, and you expect no repercussion. Then you say, well, but they're a serial killer. Well, I can tell you some worse serial killers than any serial killer ever born. Their name is the Rothschild family. They've led you into World War I, World War II. They led you into the war you're in right now. They've literally killed millions of people, but you're worried about somebody who killed 4 or 5 people, aren't you? Look how sick that is. Think about it. Watch this news report. Leave your comments and opinions. Next video, you'll have it.
Serial killer on the loose.
Chilling new developments breaking now on New York's Long Island.
Police are worried they have a serial killer on the loose,
4 bodies and counting.
striking fear into this small oceanside community.
Everyone's gonna have to go.
Today, police expanded their search looking for more bodies, even closing down a 10-mile stretch of road.
Nobody's gonna be able to stay. You're gonna have to go on the other side of the bridge.
4 women have already been found this week, dumped along this barren beach sometime within the past 18 months. Some were wrapped in burlap sacks found just 500 yards apart and appear to have been removed from a vehicle.
It sounds like they were dumped in a location that the killer felt comfortable, that he had time to remove the bodies from a vehicle and probably drag or carry into a wood line.
The man in charge of the investigation, Commissioner Richard Dormer, admits he has no official suspects, How challenging is this investigation for you?
Well, this is very challenging, as you can imagine. 4 unidentified bodies at this point, and it's critical to an investigation that you identify the victims. We're waiting for the science to be completed.
But there is a trail of potentially critical clues, from a frantic 911 call to postings on a popular website to a series of unsolved murders in Atlantic City. This latest mystery unfolded Saturday after Long Island police literally stumbled onto the crime scene. The first body was discovered during a routine canine training exercise. Officers chose the location because Shannon Gilbert, a 24-year-old known prostitute who met her clients on Craigslist, had gone missing here in May.
She said, help me again, and she just looked like she was spaced out.
Gus Coletti was one of the last known people to see Gilbert alive. He says she was running from his neighbor's house, Joseph Brewer, one of her alleged clients. She pounded on Coletti's door saying someone was after her. Coletti says he called 911, but she took off, tumbling down his front steps, vanishing into the weeds.
I could have saved that girl if I didn't know something was going to happen.
Her mother and sister believe she then called 911 on her own.
Her last phone call was 23 minutes to 911. When she was grabbed and put into the truck, the police missed about 5 minutes.
She was basically running away, trying to leave, and it was her that, get away from me, and she was running and knocking on neighbors' doors, and
he was trying to kill me, help me.
Police searched Joseph Brewer's home Wednesday night and towed this SUV, but will not comment any further. Brewer did speak to ABC News from inside his mother's house. Reports say Brewer admitted Gilbert was at a party at his home, but says she became agitated and left on her own.
This picture was taken in February of this year.
Lorraine Ela is another mother anxiously awaiting news about her daughter Megan Waterman.
My mother intuition is telling me that Megan's not with us. I felt this way for a long time.
Waterman is a 22-year-old single mom and another prostitute who used Craigslist. She went missing in June and could also be among the victims.
The worst part is not knowing where she is, what happened to her. The police haven't really said too awful much because they don't want to reveal anything that can be incriminating to their investigation. I actually heard the detective today. He came to my house to do a DNA swab to compare my DNA with the 4 women that were found. He is leaning towards one of them as being Megan, but he's not 100% guaranteed. We won't know anything until DNA and dental and the forensic files are all complete.
That's where Dr. Yvonne Malevsky comes in, but the medical examiner admits it could take weeks or months to identify the bodies.
How do you go about identifying such badly decomposed bodies?
Generally, we can no longer identify them or classify them by looking at them just visually. So we need to go to forensic odontology, which is dentistry, and forensic anthropology. And anthropology is, loosely speaking, the study of bones and the skeleton. And then the last step is to do the DNA analysis.
As police in New York continue their investigation, they're also working with detectives 160 miles away in Atlantic City. In 2006, 4 prostitutes there were murdered. Their bodies found lying in a drainage ditch. The case has never been solved. Attorney James Leonard represents Terry Olison, a handyman who was investigated for the crimes but was never charged and denies any involvement.
The fact that we're dealing with 4 women that were disposed of, and it would appear that at least one of them has connections to prostitution. So the similarities to me are striking and very eerie. Prostitutes obviously are easy prey. They are people that many times are not readily identified because they're living under aliases, they're from another city, they're transient. And what happens is also many serial killers have issues with women, and they believe prostitutes are evil and we should rid society of them.
Commissioner Dormer says he just wants to bring closure to the families of each woman, whomever they may be.
Families are, wondering, is that their loved one? And so we would like to put closure on this thing for people. And that's why the identification is really critical for the families, for the investigation.
Tonight, police confirmed Shannon Gilbert is not one of the 4 women, but they are still investigating her disappearance. Authorities have not identified any of the bodies found and at least 2 families are left wondering what happened to their daughters. For Nightline, I'm Andrea Canning in Long Island, New York.